This presentation is called Dorm Dorhu Crystal Practice, revised September 2025. What are Dorm Dorhu and this crystal practice? Dorm Dorhu refers to a group of extraterrestrial yoga-type practices for centering and calming mind and body. This presentation describes a specific Dorm Dorhu practice using crystals that Pleiadian scientist Jenhan Iridian explained to ET contactees Elena Denon and Dan Willis. Here's a picture of the Dorm Dorhu components. What are they? There's two Vogel Iridian crystals, and I'm pointing to them. And these are not just any old crystals explained later, but they're especially cut according to the parameters given by both Marcel Vogel and then later in more detail by Jenhan Iridian. And they have to be cut that way or they won't be effective. And they're in these two here, white crystal holders. And this is a pulse wave generator, which is sending a signal at 20 cycles per second across the vortex of the crystal on the left. And this black device in the middle is a clearing device. And this will be used to clear the crystal before you start your practice. And you can also use it to clear your pineal gland before you start the practice. Dorm Dorhu experiences naturally deepen over time. This is my experience. Using the detailed plans that Dan Willis posted for building the Dorm Dorhu device, I assembled the device and have been using it daily for 6 months. I've enjoyed a deepening experience with this device and would like to share my experience with it as it has evolved in case it is helpful to others. So that's why I'm making this video. Overview of my procedure. This is what I do, and I'm just sharing this to see if it's useful to others. So this is just an overview. There's 8 steps. The first step is yoga asanas, which are, the yoga postures, which is optional. Then second step is setting up the device. The third step is clearing the 2 crystals in your pineal gland using this 4,096 cycles per second clearing device. Once you do that, you plug in the pulse generator to send this 20 cycle per second pulse across the crystal vortex, which opens up the vortex and generates a stream of frill. And frill is like prana or chi. It's universal energy, which now is coming out of the crystal on the left. And the 5th step before you start practice is pranayama, which is breathing exercise to clear, the channels of prana or chi or frill in your body and refine experience. Step 6 will be yoga nidra specific practice from yoga to ground to earth and heaven and to align and extend spine. And then we're ready for the Dorm Dorhu practice. Step 7, once we've finished, we'll do some grounding followed by rest. So that's all 8 stages. Now we'll go through that in a little more detail. Procedure in detail. Yoga asanas, yoga postures, if this is your habit, easily without strain. So little details. The Patanjali Yoga Sutras, which are the foundational text on yoga, does not list specific yoga postures or physical exercises, but lays out general principles for doing these asana or exercises. For instance, Yoga Sutra chapter 2, verse 46 says, asana is steadiness and ease and physical pleasantness. Verse 47 says, asana is perfected by sequential steadiness, relaxation of effort, and the dawn of unboundedness. And ananta is the Sanskrit word. So Proper asana practice thus involves steady pleasantness, not strain or effort, keeping one's awareness on the body, being smooth and steady in motions and postures, and experiencing unboundedness. Some yoga teachers consider as asana any non-straining, steady, physical, pleasant exercises, stretches, or practices that produce balance in mind and body, support overall well-being, and lead to a healthy, comfortable, steady posture. For me, I do a combination of yoga asanas, Pilates, physiotherapy exercises and stretches that I've come across or have been recommended over the years, and that works for me. So many yoga teachers realize each person needs their own set of asanas suited to their physical condition, and they consider that asana. So we just finished step one, now step two, setting up the Dorm Dorhu device. So that's the picture of how it is. There's the two crystals. The one on the left has the pulse generator, which is this thing sending a pulse across it. And then you're pretty well ready. And we've already cleared the crystals. Now, I think we'll do that the next step. Clear the two crystals. And the way we do that with this device, you press the button, it emits a signal at 4,096 cycles per second. And I put 60 seconds here. So for each crystal, you're going to run the crystal, take 10 seconds to go up one side, 10 seconds to go down, back down that side. So that side or that axis is cleared. Then we do an adjoining side, 10 seconds up, 10 seconds down. Then the third consecutive one, which is in the back, 10 seconds up, 10 seconds down. And then we've covered all three of these axes. We don't need to do all six sides, though if you like to, you can. I usually do all six sides. So 1 minute, 60 seconds or more on this crystal, 60 seconds on that crystal, and 30 seconds we can use to clear your pineal gland. Now, the device we do not place on the crystal or on your pineal gland, but perhaps half an inch or something off it, a bit of a space. You don't have to be exact. Then the fourth step is plug in the pulse generator. Here it's already plugged in. You see it lit up to open up the crystal vortex, which is the vortex of this crystal on the left, and generate a stream of frill, which now travels up the top of this crystal. So there's 8 steps. We've already done 4, so we're moving along really well. Step 5, pranayama, which is a breathing exercise to balance prana, chi, frill are all different names for the same thing. So don't mind that I jump back and forth. There are many different pranayama practices. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras do not list any specific practices, but lay out general guidelines. For instance, one sutra states, breathing practice and practices involving variations in number of breaths, durations of each breath, and breathing to different areas of the body during inhalation, exhalation, and suspension can result in the breath becoming long and subtle. Thus, from that verse, we see that conscious breathing or being aware of one's body in the process of breathing is an integral aspect of most pranayama practices. I point this out because some people practice pranayama without any attention on it and just, while they're thinking about their daily chores or their to-do list. But with your attention on the body, it's more effective. Another aspect is diaphragmatic or belly breathing, which is breathing all the way down to the diaphragm. This is also emphasized. Diaphragmatic breathing mechanically stimulates the vagus nerve, which runs through the diaphragm, triggering the parasympathetic nervous system relaxation and homeostatic balance. This is well known in medicine. And diaphragmatic breathing also increases available oxygen in the cells, which leads to many health benefits. I'm not going to go through those here, like benefits to digestion and various things. I will next teach a specific pranayama practice that incorporates these principles, works for me, and connects well with this Dorm Dorhu practice. But if you prefer another pranayama practice, that is fine. Just do what works for you. So I'll teach now this practice. So we're up to, well, this is point 5, but this is like Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, alternate nostril breathing with body awareness and diaphragmatic breathing. So how we start. First, sit up straight with both nostrils open, and you put your left palm on your belly. Then, slowly and smoothly, breathe into your belly, feeling your belly rise or expand under your left hand. Then you know you're doing diaphragmatic breathing. So we breathe into the belly, not just, the throat or the chest, into the belly. Feel your belly rise or expand under your left hand. Then continue to inhale slowly and smoothly, sequentially filling up after your belly, your chest, your throat, your head, like you're filling up a balloon from the bottom up. So feel all those different areas sequentially filling up. At the top of the inhale, if comfortable, you can pause for a few seconds. Next, okay, so that was with both nostrils open. Now you're going to close the right nostril with the right thumb and breathe and begin exhaling through the left nostril slowly and smoothly from the top of the head, progressively down through the neck, chest, lungs, stomach, diaphragm, and pelvic floor, like you're squeezing the air out of a balloon from the top down or wringing out a claw. So at the bottom, once you've got down to the diaphragm, you should feel your diaphragm going in, then your pelvic floor, you could feel, contracting, so you're squeezing out a cloth or the balloon from the top down. Then once you've finished squeezing all the air out, then you feel yourself grounding to the earth. If you want, you can feel, visualize roots growing into the ground. So then what's next? Now that we've exhaled. Well, then we start inhale. So we pause for a few seconds, visualize roots growing from your root chakra and feet into the ground. Now we start inhaling. The thumb is still on the right nostril. So we breathe in through the left nostril, slowly and smoothly, filling up the body like a balloon from the bottom progressively up to the top of the head. And once we're filled up everywhere up to the top, pause for a few seconds and you can feel your connection to above or to heaven, like we're connecting all the way up. At this point, we're full. What do we do? Next, we remove the right thumb from the right nostril, place the left ring finger and adjacent finger. And I use the word adjacent because some people like to use the middle finger. Some teachers recommend the ring finger and the little finger on the left nostril. So you choose. So we close the left nostril, we open the right nostril, and we repeat the process on the left side. So we're exhaling from the top all the way down to the diaphragm at the bottom and the pelvic floor. We pause there. Then we start inhaling from the bottom up, filling up the balloon. And we've done that. So we've done that completely on the right side now. Then we continue the practice, alternating right and left sides for several minutes or until you feel the full unrestricted range of flow of prana, chi, frill, however you want to call it. Okay, so we finished step 5. There's only 3 steps left, 6, 7, and 8. And 8 is grounding, so it's really just 6 and 7. Yoga Nidra, to ground to heaven and earth and to align and extend spine. So what are the stages of Yoga Nidra? First, close your eyes. And this Yoga Nidra is very quick. Step one is feel or surrender to an unconditional love for everyone and everything. And I wrote surrender and trust. Feel or surrender to an unconditional love for everyone and everything. Step two, within that love, be aware of your body here and now, grounded to the earth. Being aware of your body grounds you to the here and now. Optionally, at this stage, you can feel you have roots growing from your feet and your pelvic floor into the ground. Then step three, there's only 5 steps. Within that love, while grounded to the earth, let your awareness expand to encompass the universe. And optionally, at this point, you can feel branches growing from your head up to the sky and beyond. So those are the 3 stages, really, that you have to do. There's nothing more you need to do. There's 2 more stages, but they just happen automatically by yourself, and you don't need to do anything about them. What are they? Over time, after stage 3, you'll have a feeling of wholeness will naturally set in. And then subsequently, an awareness of witnessing or being separate from the process will set in. At that point, we just surrender and trust. And you may also notice the spine naturally stretched out and being pulled into alignment because our energetic spine is being naturally stretched out and pulled into alignment. And this simple Yoga Nidra practice, which is really just 3 steps, can also be done in bed at night. Yoga Nidra actually means yoga for sleep. So it can be done at nighttime or at other times, like before meals. And I use the word momentarily because after you've done it a few times, you just think the word Yoga Nidra, then bang, it just happens. You just connect to above and below, and that's it. And you may enjoy it. I do. Yoga Nidra, unconditional love for everyone and everything, is the foundation and key for Dorm Dorhu, also for life, unconditional love. So it's a very simple little practice, but I find it's really wonderful. You could just do it at night, especially it helps for sleep. Do it before meals, whenever you like. Now, Jenhan Aredian recommends putting yourself in a gamma state, a state of unconditional love, before beginning Dorm Dorhu. And Yoga Nidra does that, so it's perfect. And you can also do Yoga Nidra before pranayam or before asanas if you like to settle yourself. Correspondence of the 5 stages of Yoga Nidra with the 5 yamas. And this is optional. I just put this in because the 5 yamas is the first limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. And this Yoga Nidra practice was actually derived from the 5 yamas. So I feel for the sake of completeness to just put it in, but I'll just quickly go through it. Corresponding 5 yamas. Feeling unconditional love for everyone and everything corresponds with ahimsa or compassion or nonviolence. Within love, that love being aware of your body, the here and now, corresponds with satya, the 2nd yama, the state of truth, the eternal now. The 3rd of the 5 Yoga Nidra stages, within that love, while grounded to the earth, expanding your awareness to encompass the universe, corresponds with asteya, non-stealing, or unity, being everything. And this stage 4, a feeling of wholeness, corresponds with brahmacharya, and Brahma means wholeness. Charya is seated, so seated in wholeness, though it's sometimes translated into other words like celibacy, because that's wholeness or energy up. 5, subsequently, an awareness of witnessing or being separate from the process will set in. And the fifth yama is a parigraha, non-possession, which relates to witnessing. So that's just a quick summary of this correspondence. So now we're getting ready for Dorm Dorhu. So I've got two slides called preparation for Dorm Dorhu, then the actual Dorm Dorhu practice. Preparation. Now that pranayama and yoga nidra have given us an awareness of prana flowing through the body and up the central cord or spine, connecting earth and heaven, we are ready for Dorm Dorhu practice. And I put this in, don't forget to do pranayama and yoga nidra. And this is partly for me, because sometimes I sit down and I want to just start doing the Dorm Dorhu and I forget to do the yoga nidra and the pranayama, but they're very important. So reminder to you and also to me. Now we can picture the central cord, which runs up the spine. And this is the prana goes up and down that. We can picture the central cord as being like a guitar string connecting heaven to earth. Well, it's now taut at the top and bottom after you doing pranayama and yoga nidra. So you've got this guitar string or spine connected the top and bottom. So it's now tight and it's ready to be strung. And that's what happens. It's described more in the next slide. The Dorm Dorhu device sends a pulse of prana or frill to the heart, which effectively plucks the central cord, this guitar string at the level of the heart, enlivening the inner frequencies of the heart. And this is kind of fun to know. So I put this in. So subsequent slides will show this in more detail, how the Dorm Dorhu device, we've got the crystal in our right hand, sends a pulse of prana, or the crystal in the left hand sends a pulse of prana or frill around the body, and then to the heart, which then enlivens the inner frequencies of the heart. Now this is really interesting. As a result of enlivening the inner frequencies of the heart heart then seems to send out streams of frill that enliven the 7 chakras and the toroidal flow of frill up the spine and then back down in all directions. So this is the picture of the frill going up and back down in all directions. So that's the toroidal flow of frill that results from this stream of prana that goes to the heart and enlivens the heart. And that enlivens the 7 chakras. And I just put this in. Don't have time to explain this here, but Rig Veda talks about Devi Veena, the divine sitar, musical instrument with 7 hands and striking 7 resonance points. And this musical instrument is in the heart. So I think it's really talking about the same thing, but we'll talk about that another time. Now, here is an important point. Do not try to discern the details of this process, as that will only create strain and drive you crazy or create headache. You know, when you're doing a practice, just let go and do the practice. Just let go and surrender to the process. And this movement of frill is happening naturally. So surrender to the process to what is naturally happening. It took me months of surrender and trust. So but I wanted to let you know what is happening, even though you won't be able to discern the details, and don't worry about it. Okay, so now we're looking in more detail to what we do. So we suspend your left palm above but not touching the left crystal. So here we've got your left arm. And for comfort, you can support your left arm on a box. So I've got my left arm supported on a box. This box is white, so it doesn't really look like anything. That's support on my arm. So my hand, my palm, is now suspended over that left crystal. And the left crystal has a pulse or signal going across it to enliven the prana. So the prana goes going up my hand, or up the crystal into my hand. Place the fingers of your right hand on the right crystal. So there'll be a crystal on the right, and we put our the fingers of our right hand on the crystal, which is held in a crystal holder, this white thing below, and pointed at your heart. You can support your right arm by a book. I use the book called this, if that's comfortable. Now we'll look at this in more detail in the next slide. With each exhale, visualize yourself projecting a tiny pulse of breath to the vortex of the left crystal. So this is the left crystal. So with your exhales, just you can visualize yourself projecting a pulse of breath to this crystal, and that shoots a stream of frill up into the left palm, down the left arm, through the chest, the right arm, and right palm down into the vortex of the right crystal. So you see that loop, the frill goes up into this arm, back and around into the right arm and the right palm and to the right crystal. And what happens next? The right crystal then shoots the frill to the heart, which enlivens the inner frequencies of the heart, which then shoots the frill out to enliven all 7 of your chakras and the toroidal flow of energy up the spine and back down in all directions. Isn't that neat? I found it really far up. Don't try to analyze or follow the process because it'll just inhibit it if you try and intellectualize it. Just surrender to the pulse, to the frequency. You may feel, if you're a meditator, you feel yourself transcending, being pulled into the transcendent. So TC is transcendental consciousness. That might be the most likely thing that happens because this flow of frill through the body relaxes the body, you get pulled into the transcendent. So just surrender to that, or the pulse, the frequency, whatever naturally unfolds or you feel. So just surrender to that. Don't try to analyze it, or that'll, you won't get anywhere. What are the predicted benefits from Dorm Dorhu? The practice is said to strengthen, clean, mend, and balance the energy of the body by repeatedly connecting the body's field with the morphinogenic field of the universe. 2, consequently, the broken hydrogen bonds between the chromosomes, intra-elements are reconnected with each other and with the morphogenetic field of the universe. And I'm not going to go into detail into that, but just know your DNA is being repaired. Once the blocks that keep the DNA strands disconnected from the morphogenetic field of the universe is unlocked, the DNA is transmuted into a more stable state of auto-regeneration, health improves, deterioration is reversed, and lifespan is extended. So we're washing away all the impurities or in the DNA and in our body through this energy that's like moving up and around, clearing out all the impurities. So the last stage we've got to the end is grounding followed by rest. So grounding means like don't just get up and jump up at the end. Stop for a second. You can feel your roots growing in the ground if you want. Take a couple breaths, feel yourself coming back to earth. If you want, you can visualize a sphere of protection around you and then rest. So you need to take time to rest. Next, acknowledgements. I'm going to go through this quickly. Here's a picture of Jenhan Iridian, the Pleiadian scientist who shared with us the Dorm Dorhu practice. You can read more in details of this later. Here's Elena Danan, who's an extraterrestrial contactee, and she's the main contactee for this group, the Galactic Federation of Worlds. So she brought this out along with Dan Willis, who's working with her as a former U.S. Navy communications engineer, who's also had his own experiences. And so they both brought out this knowledge from Jenhan Iridian, and Dan has brought it out as well at his website and also brought out all the plans for building the Dorm Dorhu device. He's really awesome. He's helped me a lot. And Marcel Vogel, Dan Willis studied under Marcel Vogel, who was a senior research scientist for IBM, a great genius, and he also studied crystals. You can read more about him later. And this is Thorhan Aredian, is Jenhan's older brother. He's in the Galactic Federation of Worlds, and he's actually Elena's main contactee. So, and he helped set up these communications. So he was very helpful in getting this information to us as well. And I'm just going to give like a brief glimpse into the advanced science and technology of crystals, just a few slides. So this is these, just to let you know, these Vogel iridium cut crystals are very precisely cut. One end is at 60 degrees, and the angle is, I think, from the horizon. The other end is at 51.83 degrees, and they're cut in alignment with the axes in a very scientific way. And I only know of one place in North America that makes these crystals. You can get them, not that, I don't make any money from them, but it's Crystal Light and Sound. That's where I get mine. Becky Forsyth and her husband Russell. And why is this specific shape? Why this specific shape with those specific angles at either end? And it's because the this thicker end at 51.83 degrees connects with the etheric energy of the universe. It comes in there, and then the 60-degree, which is like the thinner end, is the one where the energy comes out, and we can then, tap that energy and use it. And in the middle is a focal point. There has to be a difference between these angles, so there's an energy resonating back and forth, and then coming out this end. And the focal point here is where the pulse chainer has these two electrodes going back and forth, creating a signal which opens up this vortex, and then the energy comes out. More details later. This is another page about, I'll just read the first sentence. The frill from source is the most powerful energy you can ever imagine to harness, so it can be used for clean energy devices and all sorts of things. We'll show a few of them. This is Shara Aredian. She's actually the sister, older sister of Thorhan and Jenhan. And this is a pyramid-shaped device with a crystal energy in it. And the crystal inside generates energy. And the pyramid is sort of, allows that energy to be collected at the top and then transmitted. And the pyramid power plant in Era, the frill is harvested at top of the pyramid and teleported through quantum teleportation to second generators, which transpond the frill for the cities. So this is clean energy generation. We'll soon have that on Earth. And this is a frill-powered spaceship, and I'm not going to get into that. Elena Donan has gone through that in detail. She's the expert on the science. And there's also medical technologies like med beds based on fractal holographic technology and these crystals. Beyond physical technology, I think this is the last slide. Our universe is full of spiritual beings who are intent on harmony, peace, spiritual development, and helping others on this path. We are all fragments or fractals of one source creator. Our star brothers and sisters have been patiently waiting to meet us. The potential of the human race is beyond our wildest dreams, interstellar, intergalactic, interdimensional, and transtemporal. And I have Elena's book here called this because that describes that in great detail. So part 2 is just to give you a preview when I've done part 2. In the next presentation, we'll look at Dorm Dorhu and this crystal practice in light of the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras in detail in the 8 limbs of yoga. Thank you.